PSG put an offer on the table for Messi, Klopp to swap Salah for Sancho, big changes in Liga, a transfer roundup, and this week's great debate, all coming up on today's OneFootball Daily News. As I'm your host, Angelina Kelly, let's get into it. First up, and PSG have upped their game when it comes to getting Lionel Messi to make the move to the club. So, according to Brazilian journalist Marcelo Becchler, there has been an offer put on the table by PSG in the form of an actual contract. And apparently PSG reckon that this contract is so lucrative that it will be completely unmatchable by any other club. Of course, as we all know, and as we've known for a while now, PSG are interested in luring Lionel Messi away from Barcelona on June 30th when his contract does expire with the club. And what PSG have done here is they've flexed their financial muscles. So the contract that they have proposed is reportedly 3 years. So 2 years of a preliminary contract and then a 1 year extension that is possible. And like I said previously, they believe that the sum involved in this contract is so massive that no other club is going to be able to compare. So like I say, of course Messi has been on PSG's radar for a while, we all know it, but why is this suddenly so interesting? We've heard so many reports about rumours and contracts and moves, etc. But for me, this one is down to the source. So Marcelo Becchler, he is a pretty big name when it comes to Barcelona and their transfer news. Of course, he was actually the person that broke the news that Lionel Messi wanted to depart from Barcelona in the first place, and he also broke the news that Neymar was departing from Spain to PSG. So it's definitely a very interesting one that he is the person coming out saying that PSG have put this contract on the table, but is Lionel Messi going to be interested? That's the main question here. Of course, I think it's safe to say that when you look at Barcelona's season now versus the season they were having back at the end of 2020, it definitely has improved. I mean, they already have a cup under their belt. They're definitely competing for that La Liga title. Yes, they're out of the Champions League, but like I say, this La Liga race is nowhere near done. And it does seem like Messi is back to enjoying his football in Spain. Now, of course, there have been reports that a contract extension has been put on the table by Barcelona, but as far as we're all aware, no news is broken yet that he has 100% signed it and will be staying at Barcelona, so you can't really blame PSG for wanting to test the waters. But like I say, Messi seems happy at the moment. A lot of people do seem to think that he will stay and that maybe nothing concrete has been brought forward by Barcelona just yet because of some of the financial issues that so many clubs have been having. But this story will definitely be an interesting one, and it will be really, really exciting to see where Lionel Messi is actually playing his football next season. But speaking of Barcelona and their transfers, there have been a couple of other reports as well, with Juventus reportedly interested in Memphis Depay. He has of course been a transfer target for Barcelona for quite a while now, and Juventus are looking at him as a potential replacement for Cristiano Ronaldo if he does depart from the club. And then speaking of Barcelona and Juventus, Matthias de Ligt, he is another player that could be departing from Turin to Barcelona. So yeah, it's all happening at Barcelona, and it's going to be a very, very exciting time to see which of these transfers do actually happen. Next up, and we are heading to Liverpool, and they could actually be interested in signing Jadon Sancho. So of course, there have been so many rumours circulating about Mo Salah and his future with Liverpool. There have been a couple of interviews where he's maybe hinted at a future playing in Spain. There have been rumours circulating about a potential move to Real Madrid, and obviously when you look at Liverpool's form so far this season, it's not been their best, and you can understand why maybe some of their stars are looking for pastures new. But what this does mean is that if Mo Salah does depart from Anfield, Jurgen Klopp could be knocking on the door of his former club Borussia Dortmund to sign Jadon Sancho. Of course, as we all know, Liverpool's rivals Manchester United have been very, very interested in Jadon Sancho and have been linked with him for quite a while, especially after last season when they didn't actually manage to get him to sign on the dotted line. Now, since then, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has brought in 2 young wingers, but he still wants Jadon Sancho apparently, so there's going to be a real battle in the northwest of England to see who could get this player. Regarding Sancho actually making the move to Liverpool, I do think that if Salah does depart, he would slot in really, really nicely on that right wing. Of course, he is such a talented player. I'm not too sure if he's going to be able to provide the same number of goals that Mo Salah normally provides, but he would definitely be a great person to replace the player. Now, the only issue here is obviously if they could afford him, and also at the time of filming, it doesn't really seem likely that Liverpool are going to be finishing in the top 4, so that means no Champions League football. And will Sancho be wanting to make that sacrifice, especially if he's got Manchester United knocking at his door? And of course, they will be getting Champions League football, it seems, as they sit in second place in the Premier League table. This isn't the first time that Sancho has been linked with a move to Liverpool, and I'm sure it won't be the last. And although, like I say, Liverpool haven't had the best season, of course Dortmund haven't really either domestically, but one thing's for certain, it does seem like Sancho's future does lie in the Premier League. Looking at Liverpool or Manchester United, I would probably have to go with United just because I feel like this season they have performed a lot better than Liverpool, and of course they do have that spot in Europe. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see how this one unfolds and which red team Sancho will be picking in the northwest of England. And finally, heading over to France, and Le Parisien have reported some accelerated discussions about the future of Ligue 1 and reducing it from a 20-team league to an 18-team league. Now, the footballing governing body in France, LFP, did have a meeting last week with the board of directors, which included some really big names, including Lyon's president, who restated this claim to reduce the league to 18 teams. Now, of course, the main reason behind all of this, and the main reason why so many Ligue 1 club presidents are behind it, and why the president of the LFP is also behind this, is of course some of the issues that the league have had with television rights and broadcasting deals. But it could be happening sooner rather than later in the 2022-23 season. Now, of course, if there are two less teams in the league, there are less games for the television companies to have to broadcast, so it does make sense. But I'm not too sure how they're going to decide which two teams will drop out. Will it just be the bottom two teams in the league, or will it be, because there have been some sources that have stated there have been some issues financially with a couple of clubs that could end up going bankrupt. Now, if this does happen, will these teams not be allowed back into the league once they've managed to get back onto their feet? I'm not too sure, but all of this aside, it has been such an exciting league in France. I mean, currently as it stands, we've got Lille at the top of the table. 1 point behind them is, of course, PSG, and then 1 point behind them is Monaco. So this really could be anybody's trophy. Of course, I'm sure PSG will still want to win the league, but they do have bigger fish to fry in the form of Manchester City as they face them in their semi-final first leg fixture tonight. And of course, if you want to check out what our predictions at OneFootball are for the semi-finals, do not forget to check out our video that we dropped yesterday, and you can click this link above my head to see it now. And now we have our transfer roundup. This is where I take a look at some of the other news and transfers going on in the footballing world. And first up, Everton could be interested in trying to sign former Liverpool player and current Barcelona player Felipe Coutinho. Leicester City boss Brendan Rodgers is reportedly not interested in the Spurs job. And speaking of Tottenham, they are reportedly monitoring Celtic midfielder Ismail Soro. And finally, whilst AC Milan do want to try and keep hold of their goalkeeper Gianluigi Donnarumma, they are reportedly also looking at Lille's Mike Maignan. And last but by no means least, we have the great debate. This is where the OneFootball newsroom pose a question to all of you guys in the comment section down below. And of course, you can check out my answer and some of the answers from some of the guys in the newsroom on the article in the OneFootball app. So this week's question: with Alan Shearer and Thierry Henry firmly inducted into the Premier League Hall of Fame, which two players would you put in there? Now, they have to have been retired since the 1st of August 2020. So for me, this was a tough one, but first I'm going to go with Didier Drogba, an absolutely brilliant player in the Premier League. He was such a vital cog in the machine for Jose Mourinho when Chelsea won those back-to-back Premier League titles. And of course, he was great for Chelsea as well in Europe. I just think that he is such a brilliant player. He has provided Chelsea fans with so many amazing moments, so for me, he definitely has to go in there. And the second player for me, I'm going to be a little bit biased and go with the Manchester United player, but it's got to be Paul Scholes. Now, I know it's normally Steven Gerrard and Frank Lampard that are in the debates for who's the best midfielder. I'm not even going to get involved in that debate, but for me, Paul Scholes is just absolutely magic in midfield. He has provided, like Drogba for Chelsea, he's provided Manchester United fans with so many brilliant memories. He has provided some absolute masterclasses in midfield over the years. Of course, he was part of that amazing team that was involved in that 99 treble as well. And yeah, I think he's just a brilliant player that should definitely be involved in that Premier League Hall of Fame. But which two players would you guys put in the Hall of Fame? Let me know in the comment section below. So that's all for today's OneFootball Daily News. Make sure you check out all the other content that we've got here, and until next time, I will see you all later.